Hello, this is Kevin, or Well-Fed Games, from the Build Your Own Arcade Controls forum. I just want to do a quick and poorly shot video, probably, of my dedicated Raiden cabinet that I just finished up. Raiden was never what they call a dedicated arcade game, such as this Centipede cabinet over here, where it had a marquee and artwork that came that way from the factory, all very stylized to match the game. Raiden was what they call a conversion kit game. It was made in the 90s by a company called Saibu Kaihatsu in Japan. It was licensed to a company called Fabtech in the US to distribute it. And it came as a kit, which just had the game board and some stickers you would put on an arcade cabinet to switch an existing game over to this one. And in fact, this cabinet started out as a Kangaroo, which is another Atari game, a Kangaroo cabinet, and it got transferred over or switched over to a Raiden DX at one point. But it just had black side art on it. It wasn't very nice looking, so I thought, what if I made a dedicated Raiden cabinet? What if they put out a dedicated cabinet back in the 90s with its own side art? What would it have looked like? And that's kind of what this cabinet came from. And the whole inspiration for Raiden for me wasn't that I played it as a kid, but I actually played the Raiden Project, which is right here, on the PlayStation. It's a collection of the first two Raiden games, and it really made me fall in love with the series and made me feel like, yeah, this game should totally have had its own dedicated cabinet. So, this is what I came up with. There's the marquee, obviously kind of heavily influenced by the Raiden Project artwork you saw on that game case. For the control panel, if you saw there for a second, there were these metal plates that come up before you start the game, and that's what I took inspiration for the control panel. Added the lightning bolt, because Raiden means thunder and lightning, I think, in Japanese, which is the same reason I use the lightning bolt motif for the start buttons. And then red and blue Saimitsu controls. This is an LS56 joystick with an octagonal resistor, which means it has kind of clicks and stopping points at the four cardinal directions and all the spots in between, kind of like north, northeast, east, so on. Wonderful joysticks for shoot-'em-ups, really enjoying those. I kind of kept the red and blue theme for the red and blue ships that are in the game with the coin door, and then also with the side art. So on the red one-player side, I did a red bordered lightning bolt with a red ship. And then on the blue player side, I did a red bordered lightning bolt with a blue ship. And the scene portrayed is basically the end of the first level in the original Raiden, where you come upon these two kind of floating hover tanks, have to take them out before you go into a city and proceed. So I wanted to kind of depict that. So I took the artwork, took the pixel art, modeled it in SketchUp, and then traced it in Illustrator, which was quite a learning experience for me. I also wanted to kind of illustrate the fact that in the game, you start on the ground, you end up in the sky, and eventually in space. And of course, the red lightning bolt, or the red crystal there, is kind of the main antagonist of the series. These red crystalline alien guys that kind of control everything, and this is also kind of their symbol that ends up on the control panel too. I also found and scanned and vectored the original control instructions and colorized those and changed it up a little bit, because for this cabinet I wanted to make essentially kind of a dedicated Raiden, but also a multi-Raiden. So I collected the boards for Raiden, its sequel Raiden 2, Raiden DX, which is a kind of a remix of Raiden 2, and then also an early Saibu Kaihatsu game called Air Raid, which was kind of a prototype Raiden. You're flying two jets, they're red and they're blue, but it just came out, it came out well before Raiden, and you don't really go into space so much in it. But kind of neat to kind of see some of the ideas for the Raiden series appear in this game called Air Raid. It's funny, when I started this project, other than the first Raiden, the game you're seeing right now, the other games in the series, Raiden 2, Raiden DX, the Air Raid, weren't emulated in what they call MAME, the multiple arcade machine emulator software that people use for a lot of arcade cabinets. Like my Pac-Man cabinet over there is a MAME cabinet. But I took so long doing this project that actually decrypted the encryption on the boards, and you can now play Raiden 2 and DX in MAME. So if you haven't played them, I highly recommend it. Very cool. Up to that point, the best way to play Raiden 2 was the Raiden project on the PS1. So let me turn the cabinet around really quick and show you some of the internals, because there's a couple things that I think are kind of neat in the back here. So first of all, let me turn off the cabinet so I don't electrocute myself. And let me find some keys. So because I wanted to do kind of a multi-Raiden cabinet, I made it with what they call a Jama Switcher in mind, so I could switch between the various games. So what I did was, I made these kind of vertical drawers, or vertical, I don't know, layers that I can mount the boards from. And I've actually got it sent back for repair right now, because I think there was a manufacturing problem, or I plugged something in wrong. But I had a four-way Jama Switcher from a place called Vector Labs that kind of daisy-chained between the four boards, and I could switch them with a combination of button presses on the control panel. But that's not working right now, so at this point I just have the regular Jama harness, and whatever board is in this position I can kind of slide them out and slide them back in as needed. I just put the board I want to play in here, and put the connector on it, and it plays great. So I rewired everything inside here. The monitor is kind of a fun story too. I actually found it. There was an abandoned, put out for the garbage, what they call an 8-liner, or a video slot machine, on the side of the road one day that my mother-in-law pointed out to me, and I went to it and I grabbed it, and it had a really beautiful monitor in it with barely any burn-in. So I was really happy to finally use that for this project. So it's a really great looking Wells Gardner monitor. Anyways, hopefully that gives you an overview of what some of the cabinet is. The artwork I made is going to be available online. I'll make a thread called Dedicated Raiden Art on the Build Your Own Arcade Controls forum, and post some links there for it. So anybody who wants to use it, modify it, by all means, grab it, put it to use. It was really fun. It took me a long time, but it was really fun to put it together. And thanks to all the guys and gals on the Build Your Own Arcade Controls forum. They're an incredible help. They answered all my dumb questions, and were a big encouragement throughout this project. So hope that showed off the cabinet a little bit, and happy to finally have it done and play it. Thanks.